You have a great memory. I wore my blue. I wore my blue, no hypocrisy. How to win friends and influence people. Quite a topic. Let me start by saying that I had to learn to be a leader of adults. I had some experiences as a graduate student at the University of Wisconsin involved in some campus rebellions. But adults are different, and adults are certainly different in a higher education landscape. Egos, egos, egos. Grown folks are difficult, very difficult. Most grown folks have full plates. They got husbands, boyfriends, wives, girlfriends, children, mortgages, car payments, and they want to keep their job. So you have to combat all of this for their attention. Their attention. More importantly, their support and their allegiance, and their willingness to get outside of themselves, to be disciplined, to become part of a movement, to make a difference for other people's children. And you would think, to some extent, that would be easy, wouldn't you? Here I am, I'm working in an upper bound program or an educational opportunity center, programs that by mission are dedicated to the proposition of helping others. But you can't take things for granted. Everyone doesn't understand or buy into the deep philosophical traditions and principles that undergird the TRIO movement. Everybody doesn't understand or identify with the roots. Everyone doesn't necessarily understand or is comfortable with the notion that they are, in quote, social justice warriors. They would rather be, in quote, social workers and educators, period. So these are the kinds of attitudes that you have to overcome. And plus, we all live somewhere. We got our mama, our daddy, our state, our county, our high school, our college, and we're really wedded to the experiences, habits, values of that community. So here someone comes along from another state or from another section of your state with some different ideas and notions and is asking you to buy in. So what are you doing? You're the one that's going around trying to get people to buy in. First of all, you have to know where you're going. You have to know where you're going, and it ain't about you. Where you should be going should reflect and resemble the mission of your state organization, your regional organization, your national organization, and also reflects a recognition that you are a web of organizations, state, regional, national, that has a purpose to defend and to be a voice for the voiceless. That's what you got to understand, and that's the vision you, the leader, have to try to implement. You also have to understand that that ain't no burden. That ain't no burden. Damn it, if it is, go sit down. You don't have to stand up here. You don't have to stand up here. Nobody put a gun to my head this morning, or a year ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. It's a privilege and a responsibility to stand here. And if you're standing here, damn it, you got to exercise that. And just to stand here to look at me or to listen to me is nonsense. And if that's all you want, stay home. This web of organizations is not a travel club to see the other part of the state. Ooh, I want to go to California. Ooh, Hawaii's wonderful. Puerto Rico's even better. Ooh, Maine is nice in the summertime. Hell no. keep your butt in Kansas. Go up to northern Wisconsin in the wintertime. Ashland is all right. Ashland is all right. So's Duluth. So, you get the point, folks. You have to also, if you're going to walk into a room where most of the people are strangers, they ain't your family, they ain't your friends, they ain't your classmates, and you know, they ain't your coworkers, you have to recognize their humanity. And you have to project that with your expressions, your eyes, your facial muscles, your body language. Do you understand that? You got to lead. That's leadership. You got to be optimistic. Oh, we're going to lose. Ooh, it's terrible. Oh, the weather's bad again. Maybe it is. And in some instances, you may want to use bad weather to motivate people, but not, damn it, every day while the sun is shining. So, you got to recognize the humanity of other people. And part of that is recognizing the potential of other people and recognizing, and when you go into a room, that they can be you, Mitch. They can be you, Mitch. When they made Mitch, they didn't stop. There are other people who can stand in these places and lead people and do things and accomplish things too. And you have to project that and give them that damn confidence that it didn't start and end with you. You never ask people to come to you. You never ask people to come to you. Why should I come to you? I don't know you. And I don't have no responsibility to come to you. You must, as the leader, go to them with kindness, humility, enthusiasm, and learn to listen. Learn to listen as you look them in the eye. And try to remember at least some, if not all, of what they said. It's also important that you understand that this is not the last conversation, but the first conversation. And so it's important that you follow up. If you're going to stand and talk to me for 5 minutes, then you should stay in contact for 5 years or 50 years. People aren't dispensable. You don't throw people away. We're not tissue paper. You don't throw people away. You hold people to you. You work hard to bond and build relationships with people. That's critical. That's critical. You have to have an army if you're going to have any real purpose or have any real chance of winning. Those things that you don't like, those policies you disagree with, there are organized groups of people who think they're just fine. They think they're just fine. So just because you don't like it, ain't gonna change it. So it's gonna require persuasion, force, pressure, organization, discipline to move the needle. So thus you have to build an army. Or you have to maintain an army. You have to make sure your army's fed. Why do you think Ms. Horler worked so hard on the appropriations? She got to feed y'all. You understand that? I mean, you really need that. If you don't, y'all awful quiet. You're hollering and laughing at other things I'm saying. I'm talking about the money. If you don't understand the money, you need to leave. You can't have any human activity unless it's financed. You can't have 200 people sitting here for free. Somebody had to pay the bill. And we, Trio, we have paid the bill for decades, haven't we? You know the history. Last 5 years, you've increased appropriation every year, right? You're paying the bill, you're building the bill, you're creating a legacy, and you're giving others something to stand on. Because without that money, it's all over. A part of the attention we get is not because people necessarily identify with our social justice movement and the blah, 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 blah. It's because of your strength and size. If we were a $100 million program as opposed to a $1 billion program, how much attention do you think you'd be getting in D.C. right now? First of all, it would be enough for you to go around and talk to nobody. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Okay, point made. Well, again, it's a privilege to lead. You have to be grateful to lead. You have to recognize other people's humanities. Now let me talk about a few just quick mechanics. How am I doing on time?
You're fine.
Never be late. Don't be late. Never late. I don't care how fashionable late is, don't be late. All right? Once upon a time, we had the first Secretary of Education here in Washington, Judge Huffstetter from California. And she was asked once about, how do you feel about people who are late? And Judge Huffstetter said, well, I'll tell you, I just feel when they show up 5 minutes late, 2 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late, that there was something else more important to them than meeting with me. There was something else more important to them than meeting with me, which means that I start the meeting with a negative attitude. Oh, that issue, those people, whatever, your flat tire is more important than me. Well, let's sort that out, Dr. Mitchem. Who's more important, the secretary or you? Do you get the point? So you always, because it's an affront. Now, obviously, there's some instances when, you know, it's not beyond your control. But make sure that if you're ever late, it's clearly something that's beyond your control. And that you took precautions to make sure that you wouldn't get caught in the trap of something beyond your control. You didn't leave 30 minutes before the meeting, oh, I didn't expect that traffic jam or that accident. You gave the meeting enough respect that you foresaw some kind of problem. So showing up is important. Follow-up is critical. Your word as your bond is critical. You do not look a woman or a man in the eye and say, I'm going to do something, and then you end up not doing it. Not as a leader, you can't do that because, you know, keep in mind, you're the pillar of the organization. We stand on you. It is your shoulders, your back. You must be reliable. If you ain't reliable, who's going to be reliable? You're the mothers and the fathers of these state, regional, and national organizations. If you ain't reliable, who's reliable? Who do I go to when mommy's dead? Do you get the point? So you have to be reliable. Your word has to mean something. You don't just babble and ramble and just to be nice or whatever and don't mean it. You must be reliable. That's the responsibility of leadership. Again, you can sit out there in the audience, drink the water, the coffee, and be calm. You don't have to stand here. Well, those are just some of my thoughts on leadership, and I certainly am happy to see all of you. I remember the first policy seminar, and as some of you have heard me say before, with only 40 of us. But we believed, and that was the first activity of the Council for Opportunity Education, but we believed that it was a necessary step so that we could have moments like this. Thank you so much for being here.